Well, hey there, my sassy spellcasters, my magical mavens, and all other witches and pagans of YouTube. It's me, your boy Shane, and welcome back to the channel, as the case may be. Today I wanted to make a video about magical correspondences and how you can really tweak that system to get the absolute best magical results possible, tailored to you. So we're going to be talking about fine-tuning your spell casting. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to magical correspondences, even though every single book you see seems to have some sort of table or chart or list of correspondences that you should be using. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Every newbie, everyone needs a jumping off point. Everyone needs a place to start, you know, something that's been kind of tried and true and tested and that works for, you know, the majority of people. Okay, cool, nothing wrong with that. But as you get more experienced, as you start having more magical success or failure, and you really start to get your legs under you as a magical practitioner, you know, like I said, eventually, plus just life experience in general, you're going to reach a point where maybe you want to kind of jettison those cookie cutter correspondences and develop a list or a system that's more personal and more meaningful to you. That's really tailored to you. And that's how you're going to get the greatest degree of magical efficacy. The thing is, someone else's list of magical correspondences, regardless of how experienced they are, what a great witch they are, however many years they've spent in the craft or in ceremonial magic or whatever else, however otherwise fantastic their book or their blog or their videos might be, is either going to be so broad and so generalized that you can really do a lot better zeroing in on things that are really going to resonate with you, or they're specific to that single person. So yeah, I mean, magical correspondences are a language, and the reason you want to use them is when you want to layer as many different kinds of things as you can into one spell to, you know, collect that energy and get that like sympathetic magic groove going on, right? You know, yeah, all you need is your mind and your heart and your will. Fantastic. But think of how much more juice, you know, think of how much more kick you're giving to that spell if you introduce, you know, a candle in a related color. Now think of how much more zap you're giving to that spell if you introduce an herb that is related to that goal, and now a song that's related to that goal, and now, you know, and so the more things you kind of layer into that spell, the more that you're working with your own deep mind, or your gods, or the universe, whatever you believe is kind of powering that vehicle, you know, to the greatest effect. So we're going to talk about how to build, you know, your language or your dictionary or your index of magical correspondences. So what I find helpful for this is, you know, to get a piece of paper or your magical journal or your book of shadows or your mirror book or your reflection book, whatever you call it, and to make this kind of like handy dandy little chart. All right, so the first thing we're going to focus on is your columns. So those headers you see going across the top, right? Colors, symbols, sounds, and scents. And as you make your chart and start filling it out, you know, you can add more columns as necessary. But to start with, this really encompasses a lot more things than you think it does. So we'll put aside the magical goals, right? Those you know, those categories on the left where you see the love, money, protection, healing, right? We're just going to set that aside for the moment and focus on what we mean by colors, symbols, sounds, and scents. Colors is pretty self-explanatory, right? You know, red, blue, gold, silver, purple, orange, white, what have you. And that's going to cover things like, what color candles you use, or what color, altar cloth, or what color pen and ink you use to write out your spell, or what color, anything like that. The second column, you have symbols. So symbols can include, things like runes or sigils or bind sigils or, tarot cards or astrological symbols, any kind of symbols. But I think more often, for the purposes of simple spellcasting, think pictograms, right? Almost everyone associates hearts with love, or dollar signs with prosperity, or maybe a cute little house for safety or security or finding a new home, or the butterfly as a symbol of transformation, right? We're all kind of familiar with the idea of pictograms, whether it's like cave drawings, Egyptian hieroglyphics, little pictogram. You look at it and you instantly know what it should be. When I do healing magic, I use the caduceus a lot of the times. So yeah, symbols. Symbols cover a large swath of ground. Your third column, sounds. Sounds also really covers, a ton of ground. So you have sound effects and then you have music. So sound effects, I want you to think of things like, a round of applause, or drums, or bells. The sound of a cash register ringing, right? The sound of a baby's giggle. These are all like sound effects that a lot of the times produce, an emotional response. Music, with or without lyrics. So some stirring instrumental music, or your favorite pop songs that maybe have relevant lyrics. I do this all the time. I love using pop music in my magic. Chanting, whether it's, like one of those pagan chants. There's a chant that always makes me think of like Pagan Pride Day and public festivals. So when I think about, maybe if my magical goal is strengthening community, or building community, or finding like-minded friends, that is a chant that would immediately spring to mind, right? Poetry is a sound, reading your favorite poem, or a poem aligned with your magical goal, right? All of those things kind of fall under the umbrella of sound. Similarly, in that last column, you have a lot of things that fall under the umbrella of scent, right? It's not just herbs and essential oils, although those are great. Herbs and essential oils are very witchy. They're a great place to start. You can find, lots of associations, but, again, this exercise is more about finding magical associations that are in tune with you. So for this column, I want you to think about, foods, cooking smells, baking smells, fabric softener. What about things like rotten eggs, or, perfume? And again, the idea is to distill these things down to what's going to evoke memories or feelings or emotions or, drive within you. So, when I talk about perfume, like your lover's perfume might arouse your senses in an entirely different way than your grandmother's perfume, or at least I hope it does. So, maybe my great-grandmother always wore Shalimar. So when I think about family or connectedness or my ancestors or, again, safety, security, that kind of thing, I maybe will use the perfume Shalimar in that working. But if I was going to think about like, increasing my sex drive or trying to create more time with my partner, something like that, or increase our connection, I would use a very, very different perfume or fragrance or essential oil for that goal, right? So, when I say color, symbols, sounds, and scents, think outside of the box. Don't just think about like, oh, a heart, or, some, basil or rosemary or clear quartz. Like, think about the things, they say our scent memory is like incredible, right? There's music and smells will evoke such powerful things for us. And they say, I think scent memory is the one, as you get older and start to, lose some of your memories or some cognitive function, scent, I think, is the one, I believe, that stays with you the longest. So, something to bear in mind as you make these lists, right? So going back to our chart for a moment, right, now that we have an understanding of what we mean by colors, symbols, sounds, and scents, wow, I didn't realize what alliteration we had there. Symbols, sounds, and scents. But on the left-hand column, we see, now we've broken it down by magical goal. So the most common magical goals, if you ask anybody, like the big 3 or the big 4, most of our magic, whether for ourselves or for other people, has to do with love, money, protection, and healing. So those are certainly a great place to start. You can make a section for love, money, or prosperity, protection, and healing. And then you could even break that down, healing for self and healing for others, because maybe you have different associations, for those two separate categories. And then I would say take it a step further and think about what else you typically do a lot of magic for. Maybe it's insight into a situation or answers, or increasing your psychic prowess or helping with divination. Maybe you do a lot of magic for mental health, removal of obstacles, or maybe you like to, I have a friend who changes jobs like he changes his socks. So maybe you're always looking for a new job, or you like to move around, or you like to travel. You will know what you do the most magic for. Maybe it's academic success. Maybe you're in school, or maybe you're gunning for a promotion of some kind. Maybe you want to attract, like-minded friends and community members, the example that I used before. So whatever you find yourself doing magic for, add a section for those goals. And don't be afraid to revisit your list, make edits, add things as they become personally relevant and meaningful to you. Subtract things if they cease to become meaningful for you. But I didn't really talk about the most important reason why we do this, which is, like I said, and I started to get into that a little bit when I said, hey, not everyone's list of personal correspondences is going to be meaningful to you, and, that's not going to make effective magic for you. I mean, it's sort of self-explanatory, right? But if you think about it, so I was a teenager in the 90s. I hate butterflies. Not, the animal or the insect butterflies. I love butterflies. I love butterflies in the garden, whatever. They're beautiful, great. But as a symbol of transformation, oh God, it is just so played out and overhyped and just... It's done. It's over with for me. In the 90s, butterflies were on everything. Everyone had little butterfly clips in their hair and butterfly chokers and butterflies on their clothes and their backpacks and butterflies. I'm so over butterflies. People had these terrible butterfly tribal tattoos. Oh my God. So every time someone's like, butterfly is a symbol of transformation, I just retch a little bit internally. No shade. If that's personally meaningful to you, fantastic. It's just, for me, I cannot associate butterflies with transformation anymore. I can't. But I am an artist, and I work in a variety of media. And I once found a fantastic spell, and I think it was in that Dorothy Morrison book, Everyday Magic. And it's a spell, to bring about needed change. And she talks about kind of working over a ball of clay as you recite the spell. And as an artist, I was like, that is brilliant. Yes, I fuck with that hard. I love that idea, because that to me is the ultimate form of transformation. You're taking a shapeless, formless, amorphous little ball of clay, and you are molding it and forming it and shaping it to what you want it to be. And really, what fucking better analogy for magic and transformation is that? So every time I think about transformation now, immediately my symbol for that, my personal symbol, is a ball of clay. That's meaningful to me as an artist. You know, maybe I don't really vibe with butterflies as an agent of change and transformation. Maybe you hate the color red, right? And everyone's like, red is love. And you, every time you see the color red, you just, that is not going to be a very effective color for you to use to draw love into your life. If you have a visceral reaction, just a strong distaste for the color red, that's not going to help. If you have a strong distaste for the color blue, but everyone's telling you blue is great for soothing, it's great for, anti-anxiety work. If you hate the color blue, it's not going to be effective. And I made a video almost 2 years ago. I made a video, I believe, in July 2021. I just rewatched it in preparation to make this video because I didn't want to repeat myself too much. And it's a way better video than I remember, so go check it out. But I talk about why intention as a magical concept is lazy. And then towards the end, like maybe 15 minutes in, I start to talk about how, our cultural upbringing has a lot to do with our magical correspondences and the associations that we build in our deep mind, right? So, here in the United States, where we like to think everything is about us all of the time, but I digress. Here in the United States, our money is green and ugly and boring and monochromatic. In other parts of the world, money is not green, or it's a battery of colors. It's a million different colors. So, when we write these books or we read these lists or these charts and we say like, the color of prosperity is green, period, point blank, end of sentence. We're leaving out millions of people from that. They're like, I don't get it. Green, like, oh, growth, like grass, like trees. Green, like prosperity, abundance. Okay. But they are not necessarily going to have the association between green and cash money. So that's why I think it's important to kind of acknowledge and interrogate our cultural biases and apply them to our magic. People in different parts of the world, or if you grew up with different cultural practices in your home from your parents or your families, you're going to have different, associations. If you hate the smell of bread baking, you are not going to equate that with prosperity or safety or, whatever. If dogs are supposed to be like a symbol of loyalty, right? But if you were chased by a dog on your way home from school as a child and you got bitten by a dog, you are not going to associate dogs with loyalty and protection. And, it's just our experiences are what make us and shape us. And they will make and shape your magic if you leverage them correctly. So I really, really encourage each and every single one of you to make a chart like this and to really think about, do I associate pink with love and friendship because I was told to, or because that is really native to me? And if you don't associate pink with love and friendship, what do you associate with love and friendship? What song? What poem? What color? Is it green for the heart chakra? Or is it, gold because you and your best friend have matching gold lockets, right? Or is it something else entirely? You are the best arbiter of that. So if you want your magic to get better, if you want to get better, if you really are interested in fine-tuning your spellcraft, I highly recommend making a chart like this and, thinking about where maybe some of those associations hail from. All right, that's all I have for today. As always, leave a comment down below. Let me know if this was valuable to you, or let me know some of your wacky off-the-wall correspondences that, when you say, oh, I associate yellow with hatred, or, something that like the average person would look at you and be like, what? I love hearing about that stuff. And until next time, friends, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Much love.